The morning sun caught him off guard, spilling through the cafe window like an accusation, bright and impossible to ignore, the kind of light that made it hard to hide from the truth of your own life. Marcus Hale had built his world carefully, brick by brick, with quiet routines and firm boundaries, and one of those boundaries was love. He told himself he wasn't broken, just cautious, not lonely, just selective, not afraid, just realistic. Relationships had always felt like promises he could not keep, weights he did not want to carry, so he kept moving forward alone, convinced that was the safest way to live. Before the story unfolds any further, take a moment and ask yourself if you believe in kindness and second chances. If you do, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Good Soul, because stories like this exist to remind us that even guarded hearts can learn how to open again. Marcus worked as a freelance architect, which meant his days were flexible but his nights were quiet. He liked it that way. He jogged through the park every morning under clear daylight skies, passing parents pushing strollers, children racing pigeons, and couples holding hands without even realizing how lucky they were. He noticed these things, more than he liked to admit, but he told himself observation was not the same as longing. Then one morning, as the park shimmered in early sun and fresh green leaves, he noticed a small boy sitting alone on a bench, feet dangling, backpack too big for his thin shoulders, staring at the ground like it had personally disappointed him. Marcus would have kept running, would have stayed inside his carefully constructed lane, if something about that stillness had not tugged at him in a way he could not explain. From that day on, the boy became part of the landscape of Marcus's mornings. Always there, always quiet, always alone, the daylight wrapping around him without warmth. Marcus learned his name through the school volunteer board posted near the park pavilion, where he had recently signed up to help design a community reading room, thinking it would be a harmless way to give back without emotional cost. The boy's name was Oliver Reed, 7 years old, living with his mother who worked long shifts at the hospital. Marcus did not plan to notice more, but he did. He noticed the way Oliver flinched at raised voices, the way he clutched books like lifelines, the way he watched other kids with a careful distance, as if expecting to be forgotten. Marcus told himself he was just being responsible, just being kind, nothing more. But kindness, when repeated under daylight and habit, has a way of growing roots. Helping Oliver with reading during the after-school program became routine. Walking him halfway home became normal. Listening to his quiet concentration became comforting. Marcus felt something shift inside him, subtle at first, like a wall developing a crack. He was not ready for a relationship, he reminded himself. He was not built for attachment. Yet every afternoon, as the sun traced long shadows on the sidewalk, he felt a pull stronger than logic, a sense that his presence mattered in a way no blueprint ever had. The real challenge came the day Oliver's mother collapsed from exhaustion at work, not seriously injured but shaken enough to be hospitalized overnight. Daylight faded into early evening as Marcus stood in a sterile hallway, realizing that he was the emergency contact because there had been no one else. The weight of that truth pressed down on him harder than any failed romance ever had. This was not about romance at all. This was about responsibility, fear, and the terrifying realization that someone small and vulnerable trusted him without conditions. Marcus spent that night on a plastic chair, sunlight returning through the windows as he watched Oliver sleep curled against his jacket, and something inside him broke open quietly, without drama, without denial. In the weeks that followed, daylight seemed different. Brighter. Louder. More demanding. Marcus struggled with doubt, with the voice that told him he would fail, that he was not enough, that he should step back before it hurt too much. But each time he considered retreating, Oliver's steady presence anchored him. The boy did not ask for perfection. He asked for consistency. He did not need grand promises. He needed someone to show up under the sun, day after day, without disappearing. Marcus realized that what he had feared in relationships was not love itself, but the idea of being needed. And now, he understood that being needed was not a trap. It was a purpose. Months passed, measured in school projects, weekend lunches, and park afternoons drenched in warm daylight. Marcus did not suddenly become fearless, but he became present. He learned that readiness was not a switch you flipped, but a muscle you strengthened through action. When Oliver's mother recovered and thanked him with exhausted gratitude, Marcus felt no urge to step away. Instead, he felt something steady and calm, like a foundation finally poured. If this story has reached you, if it stirred something quiet inside your chest, please take a moment near the end here to like, comment, and share this video. Your engagement helps stories of hope reach the people who need them most. Special request before we close, please comment the word fatherhood below if you believe family can be built by choice, not just by blood. On a clear daytime afternoon, Marcus watched Oliver run across the park, laughter carried on the breeze, and understood that he had not been waiting for the right relationship. He had been waiting to become the right person. And sometimes, love does not arrive as romance, but as a small hand trusting you to hold on, teaching you that the bravest thing you can do is stay.